So today in this video I want to go over what environmental engineers do according to LinkedIn. So I made a video way back. I think I filmed it in my closet and I was holding like a duck umbrella. It was really explaining like what I did at my current position. I was really confused as to like what we did because I thought that was what we only did. Like that was what I thought that only environmental engineers did for all fields. But in reality, it's not true. In different companies, you could be doing different things, even though you have like the same title as an environmental engineer. So I wanted to clarify and prove that, as an environmental engineer, that title, you have many different aspects that you can go into. So according to LinkedIn, what I see is, as I'm going down the job search page, that environmental engineers, they can do a lot of different things. And yes, some things are, similar and relative to what I do. I just want to point out that you can be doing a lot of different things in many different fields, many different aspects, ranging from like what I do, environmental compliance, or research and development, or health and safety. Yeah, so basically I just want to go over, like, as I'm scrolling through LinkedIn, at least on my feed, what we do. And as you can see, I'm actually wearing like my official, inspection clothing rather than just the normal blue shirt that I typically wear. I guess it makes you feel more like authentic, and maybe you believe me that I am actually an engineer if I'm wearing something that looks like engineer clothes. So basically I'm gonna log into my LinkedIn, click the jobs tab, and just type in, near my area, environmental engineer, like as a description. That algorithm in LinkedIn will like see current and relatable titles. It could be exactly environmental engineer, or it could be like environmental compliance, or some sort of relative similar position that has like the same responsibilities as an environmental engineer near my location. So as you're searching for this job, you might have different pop-ups, different positions, different companies, different job titles that is like relative to your experience and relative to your title search. But you're gonna see what I see at least. And again, these companies will probably not appear on your job search. So you're gonna see the company, you're gonna see the responsibilities, you're gonna see like maybe the benefits and so on, like really what's the responsibilities and duties that they're looking for. And I'll give my comments and feedback what or how relative, how true that is, how relatable that is, and probably what you're expecting when you're like looking for this job. Alright, so the first one that I see is an entry-level environmental planner from AECOM near Los Angeles, California. So, just my location. I'm just gonna go and skip right ahead to the responsibilities. The first bullet point is preparation of various CEQA and NEPA documents, regulatory permit application preparation, technical report review, research, general technical writing. Minimum requirements is, bachelor's in environmental science or at least some relative field. Experience writing environmental documents, conducting environmental analysis. You need a driver's license, so you're probably gonna be driving around the field a lot. Preferred qualifications, you gotta be familiar with California, so specifically our state. CEQA, NEPA, federal regulatory guidelines. Experience and strong ability to collaborate with others, because you're gonna be talking with a lot of people. Excellent writing and communication skills. Ability to thrive in a fast-paced environment, willingness to learn. Just like the general, like, good to do, good personal development habits. So my thoughts. I mean, this is sort of what I do at my work, although I'm not like directly focused into like NEPA writing. Like, these are different fields, different aspects, different specific categories. Again, what I do is like hazardous waste, hazardous materials, solid waste, recycling, and I do some like reporting, but I don't it's not my responsibility to do the NEPA reporting. It's someone else's, another coworker's basically. But I understand what they have to do. I just don't do it often. So right off the bat, I see like permit application, preparation, writing. For my current position, I don't have to like write permits, but I have heard of a lot of people having to deal with permit writing. Yes, we do deal with like federal agencies, NEPA and those things, but again, it's not my role, it's just someone else's role. So relative to my position, this is pretty much what I expect and what you probably will be doing if you are into like, that field. So far, so good. I guess if I were to apply this job, I can probably get it because I have experience and I know what they're doing. I haven't done so much of it myself, but I at least know what they're doing. So this one is an environmental engineer in Irvine, California from the company Hazardous. Jumping straight into the responsibilities, it is to assist project managers with planning, environmental investigation, and remediation tasks, implementation of injection or other in situ based remedial technologies, assist with written technical reports, so again more writing, perform field work, which may include drill oversight for soil sampling and or groundwater well installation, remediation system installation, skipping to the next one, environmental remediation design tasks, assist with writing and preparing technical reports, coordinating work schedules with subcontractors, health and safety stewardship, work effectively with project teams. So the first part is like helping project managers, probably construction workers, like basically overseeing that site and saying like, you know, what do you have to do and how can I help you do it? Injection or implementing remedial technologies. So this is where I sort of don't do this. It's just not within my like scope of work or like my responsibilities at my current work. What I see is that they're probably gonna be at that site. So like let's say you have bare ground dirt. And so they want you as an environmental engineer to show up there and like get a sample of that dirt. So you might just get like a jar or like a shovel and just like dig up some dirt, you know, compact that, put it in a lab and say, here's your soil sample. Here's what you're gonna be working with. You know, before you even start like getting a big tractor and start like digging up ground, here's the soil. Here's what you're gonna be working with. And, you know, it might be difficult because it's very compact soil, or it could be very easy. You know, your tractor might like fall off a cliff or something because the soil is very, you know, brittle. It could just collapse. So that's why I have you come out and like test it before, you know, someone gets hurt. So that's where like soil sampling comes in, before the start of the project. And environmental remediation, that means that something bad happened, you know, maybe something spilled, and so now they have to like clean it up. And so they might have you come out and like say, here's a problem, can you fix it for us? Like, what do we have to do to make the soil not toxic, you know, not poisonous? And so again, this is far off from what I do. I don't do soil sampling, I don't do remediation as part of my work, although I know people, or at least for my work, we have other people do that. Like we have subcontractors or other, you know, we hire other people to do that for us, because like we're not, I guess, professional in that. But as part of what I do, yes, I do go out in the field sometimes. I do talk to those construction project managers and say, hey, make sure that you're safe. Did you guys have a plan, you know, before you start digging up dirt? More than likely we coordinated with them and said that, okay, before you start digging it up, you know, here's what you're gonna be working with. Here's some possible problems that might happen, or here is a problem. So, you know, here's the money. Find someone who can fix the problem for you before you start working on it and then creating some other bigger problem. And the other responsibilities are the same old, you know, just writing reports, technical reports, and like working with other people, just, you know, making sure that people can actually follow the rules. And underneath that responsibilities, it says that you can be traveling a lot. I think 75% of the time is in the field, so I can see this entry-level position is more towards like field work. So you're not going to be in the office most of the time. You're going to be out in the field or out, you know, at that construction site, just looking at dirt, saying, okay, here's what you got to do, and you're just talking to people. So less on paperwork, more so on actual talking to people and like getting your hands dirty. If I were to apply to this job currently with my current knowledge, I'm, you know, 50-50, I might not get it because I don't have that much field work. They're saying like 75% of the time you're going to be in the field, and most of my time working here at my current position, I'm not out in the field. I don't even have soil sampling experience, so they might say like, you know, you don't have this experience, you might not be well qualified for this job, even though I know that it's not as difficult as they make it out to be. They probably are looking for someone who is pretty active or has had experience before that. You know, they don't want to hire someone who doesn't know what they're doing. So I might not even get this job. The next one, environmental engineer from Davis Wire Corporation. It's a company located in Irvine, California. We are looking for a skilled environmental health and safety engineer. So right off the bat, EHS and engineer. This is not environmental engineer, it's towards like health and safety. And you might be thinking like, what's the difference? It's not really engineer related, because you're not like, you know, what you think of as a typical engineer working in construction and like having all the sophisticated AutoCAD. You're going to be doing like audits, inspections, and like just looking around at the facility saying, oh, you know, I see some wires that are like exposed, they might be dangerous to people. Because it's really towards like safety, not so much like technical skills, if that makes sense. And they say the ideal candidate will have like a minimum of 5 years experience. Let's be real here, no one has that, or, you know, not many people have that going into this field. Like, you're not going to be coming out graduation with like 5 years experience already. So this is what frustrates me about jobs. Let's read the responsibilities. So first one, provide engineering support to ensure EHS in industrial operations. So again, really towards safety, not really towards like environment. Conduct regular site inspections. So this is what I went off and said, that you're going to be going to the field and looking at the site more so than like working in the office or like your computer trying to design and draw all these lines and circles. Let's just skip some more because there's a lot to read here. Maintain reports of all safety and environmental activities as per Osha and Apiary compliances, so lots of paperwork. educate employees, assess potential risks. So again, what I mentioned about like those wires being exposed, assist in development of pollution and waste control programs, evaluate safety of new industrial processes. I'm gonna skip down more and more, so sorry if I'm going too fast. Work with state and federal environmental agencies or permit compliance. So again, permit. Ensure the work conditions are aligned with permit regulations. So permit again. You're not writing the permit, but you do have to look at the permit a lot. And I don't really even understand, at least for what I have to do, like permit writing and regulations. I just know that we have a permit that allows us to do what we can do. Like it allows us to do what we have to do, but I'm not the one writing it. I'm just giving them the money and saying, can we do it? Are we allowed to do this? If so, here's the money. Cool, thanks. Here's a piece of paper saying that I'm allowed to do it. But I'm not like the one writing a full-on like essay saying, here's why we're doing it. Can you please, like here's the reason why we're doing it. I'm not writing or convincing them to give us a permit. I'm just saying, can we have the permit? And then they'll figure out whether or not we can do it or not. But this is just my role. So if you're into permit writing, please leave a comment down below and like just explain to me the process of it, because I don't really know that much of it. So let's go. Really long list here. I'm just gonna jump straight down, yada yada. Conduct regular stormwater and wastewater sample analysis. So you're gonna be working in the lab again for this one too. It's a lot of work. Work directly with air quality management to ensure NOx credit assurance. Understand basic crane and machine operations. That's a bit dangerous. Well, that's pretty more intense than currently all the job positions that I've looked at require you to do. The following are requirements for this position: experience working with LA County Sanitation District, AQMD, DOT, OSHA and Cal OSHA, CUPA, hands-on experience with wastewater treatment, stormwater pollution prevention, 5 years of progressive experience in EHS role with 2 years of industrial manufacturing. And they offer all these benefits for working there. Alright, so straight off the bat, with this one, I know if I apply, I will definitely not get in. So they're expecting like 5 years of experience, and they want all these like responsibilities and like requirements. So unless you are very experienced and you've had all these things, you really have no chance, to be honest. I have no chance at all too. So don't get like affected if I'm saying that you're not good enough for the job. I know I'm not good enough for this job. Of course, with longer years of experience, you're more likely to fulfill all those requirements, or you might have been exposed to some of these. I know I've been exposed to like at least half of them, but I know deep down that I don't know how to do more than half of these too, like air quality, stormwater regulations. I don't have that much knowledge in like safety audits either, because at my position, like I am an environmental engineer, but we also have a safety engineer. So like there's 2 different roles at my job, while this one job is saying, let's combine both of them into one. So I do feel sort of bad in that if this one person has to have so many responsibilities, or just he might be overworked. In the end, I hope that this guy's getting paid well for what he does, because that's a lot of responsibilities, a lot of requirements, a lot of things that can go wrong, and if he doesn't, I guess, perform well, it might affect him. Moving on, I'm looking at a staff environmental compliance consultant, associate level, companies from ERM, Environmental Resources Management. So I've heard of them. They're pretty big. It's located in Irvine, California. Let's see what their responsibilities are. Okay, so not so much as the last one. They need to provide technical assistance on EHS compliance, sustainability, site investigation, and due diligence transaction projects. So you see how right away they separated, at least for this position, environmental compliance consultant with the EHS person. So just like my job, we have 2 different people doing 2 different things, while the other job that I just mentioned, with the whole long list, had 1 person do 2 people's job. So again, that guy could be overworked. But I think it's just much easier to have 2 separate people doing 2 different things, just working together. The next responsibility is preparing plans, permits, and reports for hazardous waste, air quality, stormwater, NPDES, and wastewater programs. I do hazardous waste, but for this position, they're doing like much more than that, so they're probably handling the entire field as compared to me, where I only like handle at least a fraction of those fields. They perform environmental compliance assessments, corrective actions to ensure compliance with federal, state, and regulations, support the development of EHS compliance, provide general environmental compliance support to clients, including on-site assistance as needed, perform phase 1 environmental site assessments to support property transfer transactions, perform multiple projects within scope, budget, schedule, expectations, and ensure quality standards on project deliverables. The requirements are to have a bachelor's in engineering, environmental science, or a related discipline. Master's is a plus, minimum 3.0 GPA. I honestly don't believe they're going to check your GPA, but whatever. EIT certification is a plus. Familiarity with California environmental regulations. Okay, I'm sort of confident that if I were to apply to this job with my current experience, okay, not just me like graduating right off the bat, but like with my 2 years of experience, I probably would be able to transition pretty well into this. I just don't know that much about like air quality, stormwater, and other wastewater programs, like those permitting and those things. But in terms of like what I do right now with like meeting up with compliance regulations and just writing reports, I do have experience with that. Alright, so that's good. I'm not so far off. I can still like be hireable if I get fired at my work. And I do have like some of those requirements already, so it's not so bad in that I can actually meet their expectations. So on paper, I look good. And the last one, because I don't want this video to be like so long and just have me ramble so much. The last one is environmental coordinator. The company is from Rosendin, located in Los Angeles. I feel that for the most part, environmental engineers or like coordinators or compliance officers or whatever you may call it, they only have one environmental engineer for their entire program. So you might be a bit overwhelming because if it's a small company, they might only need one person to do it. So if you're expecting like to be collaborating with other people, or you might have like 5 other environmental engineers working alongside you, that could be not the case. You could be working alone, just have coworkers who are in like construction or different fields, but you're going to be the only one handling all of the environmental programs, which again might be overwhelming because you're going to be dealing with so many sectors, so many different programs, and if one thing goes wrong or you have like different things happening all at once, it just might be overwhelming for you. Let's look over the essential duties and responsibilities. So I'm going to be skipping around pretty fast because I don't want to talk too much, and you can read it basically. They're responsible for coordinating the site construction schedule and execution plan. So again, just meeting up with project managers and seeing before construction like what's happening. Managing the daily issues involved during the construction as related to the environmental work. So again, what I just said. Assist with obtaining the construction permit notice of intent. Permit writing, I don't have any permit writing experience, so that already sort of decreases my chance already of like getting into this position if I try to apply. Coordinate with the construction team to plan installation of all BMPs. BMP stands for like business management practice. Perform the required stormwater pollution prevention plan inspections as required in the construction permit to identify required deficiencies and recommend corrective actions. So if you're not really aware with what that means, it just means that you have like a plan basically. Before people start digging up dirt and like breaking up stuff, you have a piece of paper, usually like maybe 100 pages long worth of like, here's what can go wrong, and if it does go wrong, here's what to do. Just a plan. So you'll probably be reading it saying, okay, there's like the storm drain right here next to this house, but I want to break the house. I want to demo the house and then clean it up, but some things can go in that storm drain, so you want to make sure that the drain is like properly protected. You don't want junk and like metal and all these toxic substances to go in the storm drain and like kill all the dolphins, right? So you who are reading this plan, or you who are coming up with this plan, have to find a way of how am I going to keep this drain protected before, during, and after the construction. Because sometimes, everything looks good on paper. Once you actually start doing stuff, things can go wrong. And then if something does go wrong, then it'll be falling on you and your responsibility, saying like, I didn't know this, or like, I had a plan, but that plan didn't go as expected, as planned. So you're going to be held responsible for keeping that plan like all throughout, before, during, and after the construction project. And so you're just going to be like visiting them every single day saying, hey, make sure that thing is sealed up and safe because I don't want to go against my plan. So this is where you got to be a people person and, according to their responsibilities, communicate with the construction team the identified deficiencies and track the corrective actions until the closure to ensure compliance with the construction permit requirements and areas requiring maintenance or additional stabilization BMPs. All that fancy word for you have a plan, stick with it, and don't mess up, basically. That's really all they're trying to say. It sounds like more professional. But I'm here to translate in layman's term anyway, so that's what they mean. And the last bullet point, and this is a pretty funny one, I guess. The duties and responsibilities are intended to describe the general nature and scope of work being performed by this position. This is not a complete list, and other duties will be assigned based on the position's role within the business unit. So that's just the company's way of covering themselves, saying that here's something that you'll be doing, but there's probably a lot more that you will be doing. The education experience is not as, demanding as some other positions. All you need is a high school diploma. Sometimes you don't need like a professional degree having this sort of position or role, because you're not going to be so technical on like, I need to know AutoCAD to do this. No, you don't. You just need to I guess, be a people person and oversee some site and make sure that like no one gets hurt. Basically, it's more so common sense and ensuring that you have a plan anyway. You just got to read the plan and say, okay, let's just stick with it. You don't need to do anything else besides make sure that other people are following the plan. Okay, so if I were to apply to this job, will I get it? Maybe, just because I might feel like I'm sort of overqualified for this, just because I have like so many degrees and masters or whatever. I have done some of this, but it's not like my specific role. I've done a few of these where I just show up and I make sure that people are following the plan, like making sure that they're not illegally dumping stuff down the drain when I'm not there, or like if I go on a Monday and I see that everything's all sealed up and nice, and then on a Tuesday I show up and I see like there's things leaking down the drain, then I'll be like, what happened between Monday and Tuesday? Like, what did you do? Why didn't you like seal it up? Or like, why didn't you follow the plan? You sort of have to like be very pushy to those people, because I know they don't really care. They're just here to construct stuff and like finish the project, but you're there to make sure that they finish the project on time, but also without like slipping things underneath the rug, and follow it in a very professional and like compliant way. Alright, so that's the end of my, I guess, scrolling down to like see what are relevant tasks and like positions and responsibilities that environmental engineers can do. So far, so good. Everything on LinkedIn is relevant to what I am expecting. It is relevant to what I'm doing currently right now. So if you're wondering like what do environmental engineers do, just go on LinkedIn and then see the roles and responsibilities. That is what you're going to be doing. Not every position will be required to do this, like this is more of an inspector kind of thing, as opposed to the people who are like writing permits. There's some jobs that touch on some things that I can do, but not everything. As you can see, that I'm not qualified for all positions, but some positions and some responsibilities I can do, like maybe 2 bullet points of one title and then maybe 5 bullet points of another title, but never guaranteed 100% I can do all bullet points for one position. And honestly, you're going to be learning along the way, so everything you learn in school is one thing, but realize in school you're going to be in a classroom. You're not going to be out in the field unless you have like an internship or some position or some experience that allows you to do that. But for the most part, you're going to be in the classroom learning the concepts, as opposed to like actually be out on a construction site, working with people. So that's not anyone's fault. It's not the student's fault. It's just that's what you're given and you're assigned to do. But once you're out in the real world and like you're looking for jobs, they're gonna expect you to do this. And depending on your company, if they accept you, then that might be your first time doing it. But you gain experience as you work there, so it's really just seeing if the company is willing to like accept someone who doesn't have experience. Okay, that's all I have. Goodbye.